3 things that you would have wanted to tell your 20-year-old self. So I've been thinking about it for a little bit, and I had to look it up. It's actually Mercy Me's Dear Me song. I'll have a link below. I highly recommend, to get the most out of this video, is to stop it, watch, listen to that song, and then come back. So I highly recommend it. You'll get more out of what my message is if you do it that way. But anyways, so I remember hearing this song, and I love the song because when I first heard it, it kind of like not took away, but made sense of like all those thoughts I was having. Like, you know, the different thoughts you have. Like, I wish I could have done that differently. I wish I could have done that differently. I wish I could have done that differently. So when I saw everybody posting about this, 3 things you would have done differently, or 3 things you could have told your 20-year-old self, I'm like, but all those choices made me. Kind of the basis of the song was, if I could tell myself what I know now then. And that 20 was a very interesting time for me. I was engaged and I got married the day after my 21st birthday, because in the church, that's encouraged. It's encouraged to get married young. Also, with all the patriarchy, I also felt that I needed a man in my life. I didn't know anything different. That was also a goal. Like, that gets kind of like a messy situation. Like, I can't blame it all on all that. I grew up watching Disney movies, and Disney movies, that's what you like. I have this, that could be a whole nother post, but the summarized version of it would be like, when all you can watch, like all I was allowed to watch was Disney movies. And back in the 80s, all the Disney movies were like boy meets girl, or there's that feminine energy and masculine energy, and there's like this little conflict, and then at an hour and a half mostly, it's all fixed and everybody lives happily ever after. That is not how life usually works. So a steady diet of that warps your sense of reality. So there was also health concerns, and that's a different video. I'll link it over here. And so I was told, to summarize that, I was told like probably around 16 that, because I had such horrible cramps, horrible whatever you want to call it, but they gave me 2 options. They told me that I was either supposed to get pregnant or have a hysterectomy. Those were my only 2 options. Those are not your only 2 options. If anybody's hearing this and you struggle with the same thing, please message me. Please message me. My other video that I posted will explain a little bit more too, but please post it. Please message me if that is you. That is not your only 2 options. That is not your only 2 options. And one of the big things that I'm all about is educating, like advocating and educating on having a voice. You can't necessarily communicate something you don't know. So learning more about food and just a whole host of things, I would really like to have a conversation if that's you. So back to the 3 things I wish I would have known at 20. Identity. Identity is my top number 1 identity. I can still remember to this day, there was a moment when I was dating my ex-husband that I didn't have a framework. Like, I just knew he wasn't that bad. Like, whatever you want to label that bad as, like, I didn't have boundaries. That's why my father is not talking to me right now, is because I decided at 42 to have boundaries. I've had boundaries before that. It took a long time to come from where I did to where I am, which is why that song is so important to me and why there was no way I could have done that part different from where I came. It's taken me this long living life the way I did to get here, and there are plenty of people in my same situation that don't even get close. I'm not bragging. I just know that I have been persistent, and I can't settle for the, I don't want to say mundane, and again, that's not a bad thing. It's just not me. It's never been me. So that's why I won't say I've been fighting against it, but that's why I'm here. That's why I love that song, and I think it's so fitting for this message, and the fact of how they end the song is they're not telling you what to do. They're not telling you that, because I know that I couldn't have chosen differently if I would tell my then self what I know now. I couldn't hear it. There's no way. There's no way. The things that I would have, the nuggets, like the basket of nuggets I would have given myself, was identity. That it is something to look for, that it is something attainable. Like identity is so important. Like if I could have focused on that, like those were the focuses. Like the second thing would be listening to my intuition, not having a voice and not having identity. You are literally trained to not listen to that voice. Literally trained. To the point where I still struggle. Like that is still a struggle. I've gotten a lot better. I've done a lot of work in that. But to listen to that voice. And my last tip. Giving yourself grace. Life is messy. And at 20, the grace part would be being messy. Like for the longest time, even up until probably almost a year ago, so trained on not being messy. So going through adolescent development in my psychology classes has been illuminating in the fact that adolescence, that age group, is supposed to be messy. Like that is humanity. That is what our humanity is. I don't want to say wrap my brain around, but like I skipped it. Like I totally skipped that whole section because I did get married when I was 21. The second I got divorced, like I felt like a whole lot of parts of me were still stuck back at 20, that I had just totally like froze that and skipped it. This is actually we'll say bonus because I'm supposed to only do 3, but the only like other tangible thing, those were like less tangible. But my other one would be don't be house poor. Like that would be like the only actionable one that if I could tell my 20-year-old self today, that would be the only actionable one that I think I could have done then, is to not be house poor. The bank said I could afford it. I had never bought a house before, and my dad had bought a whole bunch of houses, so I trusted the fact that he knew what he was doing. I could afford the house, but I couldn't afford to do anything else. Like I could pay all the bills, I could pay the mortgage, I could do all that, but that was it. There was no fun. There was no fun money. It was that tight. So that would be the actionable step that I could have done then. Being house poor, don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. It is an awful place to sit at. It's an awful place. So that would be the 3 things plus a bonus that I would tell my 20-year-old self. But I highly recommend, if you didn't already listen to that song, listen to it now and join me. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you would tell yourself. Tell me if any of this helped. But that song brought me peace. So I hope it brings you equal peace. Until next time.